All right, welcome to this week's Traveling on Everyday Spend Points and Miles report. This is going to be a Black Friday edition with Thursday, the normal day being Thanksgiving. Thought we'd get this out early, and especially because Bilt came out with their December information, and a lot of things will start kicking off tomorrow. And there was a couple things that actually started today, which I sent one notification for one of the items. But we're going to touch on that as well as the credit card information and opportunities that you definitely need to know. And then we'll get to BILTt, as well as we're going to talk about ways to maximize your Black Friday savings. Definitely something that I end up doing. And regardless of how much you spend on your credit cards, every point, mile, cashback counts. So let's just jump right on in to this here. So as far as the credit card intro bonuses, we still have Amex with just the Hilton cards right now through January 8th. I'm sure we'll see some new ones come up as we get into December, but these are some very good opportunities for Hilton at all levels, from 0 annual fee all the way to $550 for the Aspire, and $195 for the business card. So definitely take a look at it. There's plenty of time to plan for it. Then for Bank of America, we have the Alaska Airlines Visa Signature Card, $95 annual fee. Beauty of this is that you're going to be able to get that famous companion pass with just the welcome bonus spend of $3,000 in the first 90 days. It used to be that way with the card, it was just included with it on an annual basis. But as they made changes, now you have to have a certain level of spend to get to it. Not out of the way, but this is a nice touch for getting a card to just start off with. Barclays still has those Wyndham bonuses that we're seeing that are elevated. We don't know when this is going to end, but as I've talked about before, Wyndham points are somewhat of a forgotten points. There's a lot of opportunities with their all-inclusives, as well as with essentially the Airbnb almost setup with Vacasa. So I'd always suggest to take a look at that. Definitely did a live stream to kind of go more in depth on that, and I'll have a link for that in the description. And then as far as Chase, we've got the Freedom Unlimited with this limited time offer at $250 bonus for $500 worth of spend in the first 3 months. We still have the 2 Visa credit cards for Disney that are available. Aeroplan's 100,000 mile still continues, but as I continuously say, it's really a 75,000 mile welcome bonus to me, solely because of the fact that that additional 25,000 miles of what it costs you to get it, which is essentially spending that amount of $20,000 over those 12 months, which is not a good investment of your dollars. Chase, we've got the Southwest offer on all of their credit cards, regardless of the annual fee, and it's all the same. $400 statement credit with 40,000 miles with $3,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. So be sure to take a look at that. And we also have United with all of their cards have elevated offers. Once again, all the way from the no annual fee card to the United Club card at $525. We also have bonuses on the Amazon cards, the Amazon Visa, and as well as the Prime, with $60 gift card for Amazon Visa, $200 on the Amazon Prime. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which normally has 60,000 points. There is an elevated offer specifically through infatuation.com. It's a food portal that they utilize for Chase, but that'll get you an additional 5,000 points. Everything counts. And then for Citi, we have the Citi Advantage Business Platinum with a limited time offer that is still available. It's a business card at 75,000 miles with $5,000 worth of spend. And the Citi Strata Premier at 75,000 points for $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And then lastly, if you're looking at anything for JetBlue, for like the JetBlue Plus, I mentioned last week that if you go through the app, they have an elevated offer just through the app that will get you 80,000 miles instead of the 50,000 miles with no additional spend. So if you have any interest in it, definitely do not lose those 30,000 points through and not go through the app. And then lastly, I mentioned last week, but I wanted to reiterate, the City Double Cash and Custom Cash now does have a 24-month extended warranty that has been reinstituted. So want to make sure that you're aware of that. And before, I want to say thanks to Ian, Catch the Replay. Thanks for the content. Really appreciate it. I know everybody's running around here as we're out here on Black Friday, but thank you so much for taking the time to even contribute. Really appreciate it. And Lonnie, call me Lonnie. Thank you so much for popping in. Excellent creator here on YouTube with credit cards, and really has his own personal spin on things. So I always recommend being able to listen to Lonnie. And then as far as transfer bonuses, we're getting near the end of the month, so we only have a few left. American Express, 30% with Marriott through the 30th, 15% through Cathay Pacific through Amex, and then Avianca, 15% through December 31st. Capital One will have British Airways at 20% through December 31st, and Chase will have Virgin for 40% through November 30th. Now, I definitely use all of these are nice offers, but as I always say, these are just sweeteners. There's nothing that is groundbreaking for you to necessarily feel like you must transfer your flexible points, your Amex points, your Chase points, your Capital One miles into these. So don't worry about it. But if there was a flight that you're looking at doing or a stay you're doing, then it's the sweetener that you could look for. Now, as far as the points and miles opportunities, we do have an enormous amount of them. I'm going to make sure to just highlight the new ones that have come up, and there will be links for all of these in the description. And so I'll just hit quickly the Accor Live Limitless. We still got multiple different promotions that are going on for that involve registration, but whether it is 3x points with some of their hotels at different locations, or the Fairmont Hotel with up to 25% off, or just 20% discount if you use their app, all of those are still applicable. As far as Air Canada, we do have a new one involving their gift cards. If you go through their portal and use and purchase their gift cards, you can get 3x Aeroplan points on that. That's going to be valid through December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can earn up to 30,000 Aeroplan points. Now, it does require a minimum spend of 750 Canadian, which is approximately $535.60 in US dollars. And the maximum purchase per transaction is $2,000 Canadian, or approximately 1,428. Not a great deal, but once again, if you were looking to do something and it was already part of the plan, once again, it's a sweetener to consider. And then we have Breeze Airlines that has their Black Friday sale that's going to start on November 29th through December 1st. It is eligible for select travel from December 4th all the way to May 22nd of 2025. So that is a really good range of time if you're a person considering it. One-way fares are going to start off at only $29. Now, of course, as you can imagine, there are blackout dates, December 20th through January 5th, February 14th through the 25th, and March 10th through April 20th. But you may still be able to find some spots that works out for you to be able to take advantage of that deal. Then we have Coast Hotels, which I was not really much aware of them, but they're basically located in the western portion of North America. Most of the hotels are in Canada, mainly in British Columbia, but there are some properties in California, Washington, Alaska, and Hawaii. But they have an excellent deal if there's a hotel near you or that you're interested in, where it's the Pink Friday sale, where you book one night and you get the second night free. You do have to book 2 consecutive nights. Book by December 2nd, and it's valid for stays, though, all the way through April 30th of 2025. Now, it is based on their flex rate, which is a bit more expensive than if it was a member rate or some other rate. So you will pay a little bit more for that, But in most cases, you're going to find that is an excellent deal of essentially a buy one, get one free. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that if this is good for multiple days, so even if you stay 4 days, you still will get that second night free on the second on that one. So there's not a limitation to it. So definitely something to consider if you're in the area of coast hotels and that might be of an interest. Then we have Copa Airlines, and that's up to 90% bonus purchasing their Connect miles. And this is their best ever rate that they've been able to do for bonus miles. And it's available through December 8th based on, they're based out of Panama and they are Star Alliance. So that would essentially be United, Air Canada, Aeroplan would be a couple of the major ones. But 5,000 and 9,000 miles, you'll get 60% bonus. 10,000 to 14,000 miles, a 70% bonus. 15,000 to 19,000 will be 80% bonus. And then 20,000 miles will get you a 90% bonus. And that value is at 1.58 cents per mile. Now, the maximum purchase amount is 70,000 miles before the bonus. So if Copa Airlines might be something that fits for you, it might work. Not that they've got any great partner rating, partner transfers numbers compared to other Star Alliance ones, but if you were going to fly on their metal for Panama, that would probably be an excellent opportunity if you needed the miles. And then we have Hyatt, multiple opportunities that still remain, from purchasing points to saving to up to 25% at certain locations to 2x at Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And then IHG, we still have 3 different promotions for them. 40% off of Iberostar all-inclusives, 15% on reward nights at some of their newest or recently renovated hotels, and then 3x bonus with stays at certain locations, certain hotels of the Atwell, Avid, Even, Gardner, and Voco. So those will all still be going on. And then we have JetBlue, where they have up to 130% bonus purchasing True Blue points. Now, if you purchase that, you need to purchase it by December 31st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It requires a 3,000 minimum mile purchase, and you can purchase all the way up to 300,000 points. Now, that does represent the maximum per transaction, and it is also the annual cap as a member. 2,000 to 20,000 miles per transaction for it, 1.4 cents per point if you were at the 130%. Now, if you do go into this, you may find that you don't have that max at 130%. I did not have a JetBlue account and signed up today just to see how this looked. And I was, for the first time ever of these, actually had the maximum available at 130%. But be aware that these are fixed reward pricing program, and it is tied to the cash price of the ticket. So it may not necessarily be a good deal in some cases. So make sure you do your due diligence to make sure of what may work out for you. And then we still have the Marriott items, where we have the Cyber Week, the Home and Villas program, as well as the 10,000 points for minimum 4-night stays at the all-inclusives in the Caribbean, as well as Latin America, that are available. New one that we have is preferred hotels. Now, this could be very good. You can save 35% on their best available rate, and on top of that, you'll get 35,000 bonus points when booking a stay of 3 or more nights. The offer is valid through December 2nd through the 4th, but if you're an I Prefer member already, and it doesn't cost you anything to be that member, you will actually get access to do this from November 30th through December 1st before everyone else. So maybe something to consider if you're looking at any of the preferred hotels, that those additional points can really end up making a very good pricing for a stay there. And then we have Qatar, where you can purchase up to 65, purchase their Avios with up to a 65% bonus. Now, this is available through November 28th, and it is in tiers of 20%, 40%, and 60%. Now, that is what I saw that was being talked about was 65%. I went on mine and mine capped out at 60%. So there may be some variables if you are looking at potentially purchasing those, but I do have the link in the description for you. And then we have Spirit with 40% discount on purchasing their free Spirit points. I always wanted to at least mention them because obviously there's not really credit card transfers, but this is a discount, not bonus points. But if you needed them, that's maybe something available. Tap Portugal is a new one that we have with 100% bonus of purchasing the Tap Portugal miles. You need to purchase it by December 5th of 2024 at 6:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 2,000 to 20,000 miles per transaction. So 40,000 miles will get you be at $870, which is a bit over 2 cents per mile. Now, one thing to be sure to keep in mind if you consider buying these is that the miles are only valid for 12 months. Now, it can be extended up to 3 years as long as you have qualifying activity with your points, so or your miles. So be sure that if you do this, that you have a plan for it, or you know that there's going to be activity to extend that time frame. And so, just as an example, if you flown TAP business class one way, can cost you over $3,000. But if you purchase the needed miles, you might save about 25% with an outlay of $2,175. So just to provide as an example of what Tap Portugal is. And then we have the two Wyndham opportunities to double their points at select hotels, as well as up to 60% bonus, which is a best ever. Not one that I ended up seeing, of course, but you may see it when you look at yours. And want to say thanks for Fashion Forward. Appreciate you popping in. Really appreciate it. And so as far as the next topic, let's look at Plaza Premium Lounge that just opened up in Vancouver. They are calling this, at least Plaza Premium's calling this, their flagship lounge in Canada. Now, the lounge is approximately 10,500 square feet, and it can accommodate 251 guests. Now, the lounge is in the terminal side, but not the transborder portion between gates D67 and D68. They'll have live cooking stations with rotating options, a self-service bar, a family room, and they'll even have shower suites, but you do have to pay for those shower suites at roughly $25 Canadian dollars. The big thing about this, though, is their what they call the first section. Now, the first section is going to open December 2nd, and this is going to be the first Plaza Premium in North America that has what's called their first section. The other locations are Hong Kong, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, and Macau. So what this is going to do is it's going to take that 251 seat space, and 115 guests will be specifically for the first section. Now, that obviously does not make either section that big, especially for the regular quote unquote side. But in the first section, you will have a la carte dining with signature dishes, full service with full service bar with more premium drinks selection, as well as the showers are complimentary. Now, access does cost you 110 Canadian dollars for a 2-hour visit. And obviously, a lot of us that do the lounges know that you normally have 3 hours at a lounge from the time of your departure. So they've reduced that down to 2 hours. The other thing to keep in mind is that we don't know if there's going to be certain airlines or levels of, depending upon if you're in business or first class, that may potentially get you access to the first section. I was reading something, I think it was from the Points guy, and they couldn't find out from anybody if there was going to be such a thing. So if you are flying through Vancouver, definitely make sure to check things out to see if you might be able to have access directly without having to pay the $110. And if you do go, definitely make sure to put a comment in and let us know. And this next topic on reserving overhead bins, I've not seen an airline that did such a thing. And I came across this related to Condor Airlines. Now they're based out of Germany, and they've had this option for actually a couple of years. Now the pro for them, and I know some people that I've talked to do fly Condor, so I just wanted to just touch on this. So the program is just for economy, but it does include several short and long haul flights. Now you can reserve this up to 48 hours before departure, and it normally can start at $18 per flight, so not too bad. Now each passenger can only reserve one overhead bin, and your boarding pass will identify the overhead bin that you have access to. Now, passengers that are in premium economy, business class, and if you're in the emergency exit row, you already have designated overhead bins. So that's why it's only for the economy. And it's not just for one bag. It can accommodate both your regular bag and small bag that you would have access to. So if you're flying Condor and necessarily you're flying economy, it might be a nice little fringe benefit to look at. And then let's talk about these new, a couple of locations that I saw that had some significant airline or airport taxes that I wanted to bring over to you all. So let's talk about the Maldives. The Maldives is going to be starting a new increased departure tax. And it's already obviously enough money to get to the Maldives anyway. This is just going to increase the price. Also on December 1st, the Maldives are going to raise their taxes on their departures. And so for economy, it's going to move up to 50 from $30. Business will move up to 120 from 60. First class, $240 from 90. And if you are fortunate enough to fly private, it's going to be $480 versus 120. But that doesn't stop what Maldives are going to be increasing. They're also going to be increasing their green tax, where each tourist needs to pay $12 instead of $6 if you're in a resort that's more 50 rooms or more, and then or less, and more, and then $6 from $3 if you're going to be in a smaller resort. So and then resorts are going to have to make sure that if they have a daily rate of $800 or more, that they must exchange $500 per tourist into their local currency. Obviously, there must be some issue of not having enough movement of their own personal or country's currency, but I don't know a whole lot enough about that at this point. But it's interesting things for an already expensive trip getting more expensive. Pakistan, though, blew me away as far as their numbers. For this, these are airline ticket excise duty. This is not all of the taxes you're going to pay on an airline ticket out of Pakistan. This is just one part. So if you're flying business or first class, you would end up spending up to $375.79 US dollars for tickets if you're flying to the Middle East or Africa. It goes to $758, and this is per ticket. For tickets if you're going to Europe, much of Asia, Australia, New Zealand. And if you're coming all the way to the North America or South America and flying business or first class, that excise duty is $1,263. That's astonishing. Now, obviously, Pakistan has its own a number of issues. They do have their own airline, but it has had numerous financial problems for quite a while. But for those numbers, I think a lot of people might be bypassing flying out of specifically Pakistan. So let's talk about Bilt. Bilt came out with their December news information today, and that's the main reason I wanted to, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this live stream today, so that you didn't miss any of these early opportunities that did start today. So let's talk about the multipliers first. So I sent out a quick little notification that they have and this is not targeted, it is for everybody. From 9 a.m. this morning, November 26th, through 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, November 30th, anything that you purchase with Bilt that would normally be 1x will now count as 3x. Now, it does have a cap of 1,000 points, but that can be some additional points for you to gather, especially before the first. And I'm definitely going to use it myself for some utilities to be able to get 3x and get that out the way. So be sure, if you've got the Bilt card, go ahead and make sure you're using that for that 3x. Get those 1,000 points. That's just free points slash money. Do not miss that out. Miss out on that. Now, that doesn't include the rent, though. It's everything else excluding rent. Obviously, if you've dealt with Bilt at all, we know that on rent day we get double points on everything else. Dining goes to 6x from 3x, travel 4x versus 2x, and then 2x normally on everything else except for rent, which would normally be 1x, but you're going to get that 3x on this promotion through the 30th. So definitely make sure of doing that. As I've said before, I try to get my 5 required transactions normally all on rent day so that I always get 2x on anything I spend, but I'm going to be spending up enough on this 3x to go towards those 5. And easily, utilities, your insurance, or just quickie kind of things that you can do that's going to get you a strong multiplier, even now more than a catch-all card. So as I say, make sure you maximize your rent day, and then it's 24 hours from 12 a.m. So if you're out and about at midnight, you can feel free to start using them. And once again, there's a cap on the 1,000 bonus points for rent day, but that is separate than the 1,000 bonus points you can do from the 26th today through the 30th. Unfortunately, when it comes to redemptions, we didn't see anything great this month. We do have an Amazon redemption bonus with the Bilt card. So from, once again, today, November 26th, through December 1st at 11:59, you can use your Bilt card to redeem Bilt points with a bonus during checkout on Amazon.com. Now, the bonus depends upon what tier you've achieved, and enrollment is required. So make sure before you do anything with this, go to Amazon.com/Bilt rewards to make sure that you're enrolled. But you'll get 100% bonus if you're platinum, 75% if you're gold, 50% if you're silver, and then if you're a base blue, it's 25%. Now, most of us that are dealing with Bilt, that are earning the points, know that the best thing for us to normally be able to do is to take those points and transfer them to transfer partners, or at worst, go through a travel portal. This is not any different than when we have a chase that says use your points for Amazon or such. It's just not a good value to use them. If you just have so many Bilt points that you don't know what to do with yourself, then fine, do this. But otherwise, it's a poor redemption of your points unless you absolutely have to do it. So that's the disappointing portion. We don't have any travel related bonus redemptions this month, but we're not going to expect those every month as we used to. So it is the new normal. And then, of course, we normally have their rent-free game show that is open. You do need to play by 3 p.m. on December 1st. Top 10 players will be able to get, will be rent winners. Then you'll also have the complimentary fitness add-ons that it is not just for rent day, for Y7 Studio, Soul Cycle, and Cycle Bar. So those are going to be available as well. Now, as far as the Soul Cycle ride, that is a rent day special done at 50 plus Soul Cycle centers. It's a 45-minute full body ride. 10 complimentary bikes per rent day will be available. You need to go ahead and make sure that you are booking that class, though, if you're interested, by tomorrow. It'll start at 10:50 in the morning if you're a platinum member, and then everyone else will start at 11 a.m. One rider will be a winner of having their rent paid for up to $2,500 for the month. Now, the neighborhood dining program that we have for December is for December 1st, all-inclusive reservations at top restaurants. The participating cities this month is Atlanta, Arlington, And under Arlington, it's actually Ocean City, Virginia. I thought it might be Arlington, Texas. Didn't know if it was Arlington, Virginia, but it is Arlington, Virginia, Ocean City. Austin, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Los Angeles, Miami, Nashville, New York, San Francisco, and DC. The reservations are starting at $75 or 5,000 points. It's also going to open tomorrow at 11:50 a.m. for platinum members, noon for everybody else. This normally ends up selling out in these cities. So even if you're not a platinum member, though, you probably have a good shot of potentially being able to secure a reservation if you're interested. And those are all showing up on the app right now so that you can be able to identify if there is something of interest that you want to be able to look at for them. And then let's talk about a new thing for this month, which is Bilt Neighborhood Comedy. Now, Bilt has partnered with a comedian, Matt Freed, to create shows at locations that are not your typical comedy club. Each show is going to feature up-and-coming comedians. Seats will be available on the app once again tomorrow, 11:50 a.m. for Platinum, noon for everybody else. But we do know the venues already. We have DC on December 8th at 1789, which is the location. And then Boston, December 9th at Yvonne's. New York City has two on December 10th at Lucali and December 11th at Stephen Weiss Studio. Chicago is December 15th at Lazy Bird, and then we have Los Angeles on December 18th. Each event will include light bites and complimentary drinks. These shows are exclusively available for Bilt Reward members that are 21 and over. Now, the tickets for these will start at $75 or 5,000 Bilt points each, and there's a maximum of 2 tickets per person. And so that is what we have for the, let me get over here. All right, let me pull that. And see if I can get this together. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to talk about maximizing Black Friday. And these are the Black Friday is such a time where there's a lot of savings that could be done, but unfortunately, a lot of us, and myself included sometimes, don't always look at trying to stack. And that is where we really need to make a lot of hay as far as our points, our miles, or our cash back that we're trying to get. And my household is not one that spends a whole lot of money every month. So everything that I can get to be able to multiply on is essential for me to be able to reach the points and miles goals that I want to be able to doing. And Fashion Forward said, I plan to check out the comedy show near me. Well, that's great. Make sure to let us know how that goes, because we don't know of essentially the acts that are going to be going on. So make sure to share that in the comment section after you're done with that. So as far as the Black Friday thing, I kind of go through this in 3 different levels. So the first level I would end up looking at is I look at the credit cards that I have. And so you can basically start off with, do you have a catch-all card, a 2% or 2 points card that you know for sure that you'll get 2 points or 2% cash back? And once you go from there, then you can look at number 2, do you have essentially, and I'm saying a store credit card, but I'm not really referring to like a store credit card like a Macy's or Bloomingdale's. I'm talking about like Amazon, where you're getting 5%, or Costco, where it's 4% credit card. Do you have those, and do you plan on shopping at those locations? Then you can look at your rotating category cards, which could be the Discover It or the Chase Freedom or Freedom Flex, and see if you have something on there that their rotating category fits for what you're looking at. I know that the Chase Freedom Flex and Freedom have PayPal, so that may fit for some of your purchases so that you can get 5% on those, or 5 points, depending upon your card setup. And then I know that Discover It has Amazon and Target as their rotating categories. So that is another option to look at. Then I would look at category cards. And so that would be a very simple example of that would be the Citi Custom Cash, where you designate, where you basically, whatever category that they have that you spend the most on, you'll get 5% or 5 points back on every dollar you spend. And I would look at that as a possibility. So that's what I first start doing, is to look at what are the credit cards that I already have that can get me a little bit of outsized value to look at. Then the second step is, for those credit cards, you need to look at the offers. And so American Express, Chase, Capital One, Wells Fargo, as far as the major credit card issuers, all have offers. Now, Capital One will be a little bit different, so I'll talk about that shortly. But for American Express, they are very well known for having a lot of offers that are available. Normally, on every credit card they have, there's normally about 100 offers that are available. Now, it does take a lot to look at, and I can understand that nobody necessarily wants to look at all 100 of those. But I really, and you can search by vendor if you know that there's a specific vendor you're looking for. But I would encourage you to take the time to look at, to skim through all of the ones. You can look at them by category if you want to, from shopping to travel or such, but you may end up seeing a good deal that still fits for what you're looking to buy during Black Friday. And don't forget about looking at the airline and the hotel credit cards. Don't just assume that they're just going to be travel related or business related if you have business cards. I ended up, I've got a Delta Platinum credit card, and last month, there was a 20% discount at a local grocery store of mine. Now, if I wouldn't have seen that offer, I, of course, would have never thought about spending any money of a grocery on my Platinum card. But for that amount of spend, it wasn't a whole lot of spend, but for that spend, it was well worth it. It was better than any other discount for me to be able to do. And then I've looked at my Delta Platinum card for Black Friday, and there were a few things on there that I will end up looking to use. I had a Lowe's, for Lowe's, the competitor Home Depot, $50 for $200 worth of spend. I also had DSW, and so DSW is Designer Shoe Warehouse. I think they're regional where I'm located at. But if you have any of them, and you can be order online, that's $15 on $100 to be able to do for that. And so those are just two examples of ones on there that worked for me. And my Hilton credit card had the exact same items on there. So I will look to use both of those cards. And then on my Amazon card, then I also have another Lowe's $50 for $200. So those three together are $150 on $600 worth of spend. Not that you have to use all of it, but it's there. And on top of that, I also had the amount for Zappos for a discount on that with, I believe it was $25 on $125 spend. So that is, Amex will always have a lot of them. And the beauty of Amex is nearly all of them that you'll see are ones that you just click and activate on your credit card. And that's going to allow you to be able to stack easier as we talk about the next step regarding it. So Amex is really good with their offers. Chase is very similar to American Express, and I definitely encourage you to look at those as well. The only difference is that you'll probably see more where there are online ones where they already have a link to it. And when it's that way, then that's not going to allow you to do this third step that we're going to talk about. But if you see something that fits and it works and gets you the right number, it could still work out on those ones where it doesn't just attach to the credit card. Wells Fargo, in their case, not a whole lot of offers compared to those two, but I still found that there was a 7% cashback with Puma. I also saw that there was 10% on OXO, and OXO is kitchenware. If you've ever come across it, OXO. But those ones were able to attach to my credit card for that, and so those are excellent opportunities. So once you've now looked at the credit cards, now you've looked at your offers to be able to see where you might be able to start stacking. Then the next step you really have to look at is shopping portals. Now, there are all kinds of shopping portals. You have airline shopping portals, you have hotel shopping portals. And now the main thing you have to be aware of doing it, so I'm talking about Southwest has their Rapid Rewards shopping, American Airlines has a shopping portal, Delta has a shopping portal, Alaska Airlines has a shopping portal. They are all, I've dealt with all of them. They are very good, but make sure you understand though that the points or miles you're getting is just in that currency. So if you're doing it out of Alaska, you're only earning that currency. So I normally kind of stay away from that because I don't like locking myself into those particular points and miles or for any of them. I like to have flexible currency, but sometimes they do have very good offers and it fits for what you're looking to do with your points, miles, or your cash back. So look at those as possibilities. But the other one that I normally deal with, and there's other ones, is Rakuten. The thing I really like about Rakuten is the fact that it normally comes as cash back, but if you do have an American Express credit card, any of them that have Amex points that you can earn, then you can change your redemption from cash back to the membership rewards points. And for all of those ones I mentioned, so Lowe's, I can go through their portal. I believe it was 4 or 5% for online purchases with them. So now if I was to do something through them, I'm looking at 5% through Rakuten, which can give me either the membership reward points or the cash back. I'm also still getting those American Express offers on that $200. So I'll make separate purchases through Lowe's to be able to do that. And then now you've really maximized your spend. Now you're not going to get your multipliers with these particular credit cards. You're getting 1x. But the key is when you're talking about that much money for that spend, plus the Rakuten is what is allowing you to stack those. And that applies to all of the ones I mentioned. OXO has a percentage that you can get through Rakuten. Puma did as well as Lowe's, DSW, and there was another one for B&H Photo that was an offer, but that was the only one that I saw that really interested me that did not have something specifically through Rakuten. So maybe for that one, I may look at one of the airline portals to see if they have it, if there was something I needed from B&H Photo. So that's what I say when you're talking about stacking, that it does take some time, but there's really a lot of savings you can get and a lot of accumulation of points, miles, or cash back with it. Now, I did mention Capital One. Capital One is a bit different than Chase, Wells Fargo, and American Express. They have offers, but nearly all of those are online ones where you have to connect in through their offer portal. It's not going to be one where you can take it to Rakuten, but that can be okay sometimes. I ended up using Viator for some excursions that I'm looking at doing when I go to Australia, and it was giving me 11% cash back on every single purchase that I did. On top of that, once again, talking about stacking, Viator has a rewards program. So a small percentage of everything I spent got me Viator points to use towards one of their excursions that I'm looking at doing. So Capital One is essentially a Rakuten-like type of portal where, but you can look at those to see about the percentage. Then, to see how to let you know how you have to kind of keep an eye on things. I had 11% for about a couple of days while I did some purchases. Then it dropped all the way down to 3%. But then I found on Rakuten that they had it at 10%. So then I moved my business of anything else I needed to get through Rakuten. Make sure that you are using these portals, checking your offers, to making sure that when you're going through this purchasing process, that you are maximizing it on everything you possibly can. And you can be an absolute winner when it comes to Black Friday with this. And the other thing I would end up saying is make sure, and the American Express Platinum card is a perfect example. If you have credits that for something that you need to spend, make sure to check on that as well. Saks Fifth Avenue has a $50 semi-annual amount that you have as a credit. Well, I know for a fact that I can take that $50, take it through Rakuten to get additional and to kind of maximize it for that. I don't normally, obviously, the Saks Fifth Avenue is just kind of a thing to do because the credit's there. I don't really give much value to it out of the coupon book that is the American Express Platinum, but it's there. So that is kind of just the examples I want you to try to consider as you start going into Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Make sure that you're not just looking for the savings that you see in the paper. You can do better than that. You can still get that because most of those can be purchased online anyway. Then take a look and see if you can go through Rakuten or one of your airline portal or whatever works out best for your personal situation, because you could really be able to do a lot with it. So I wanted to make sure to kind of cover those things for you today. I'll also have a link in for the last few videos that I've had for you to be able to look at, as well as a couple of the live streams that kind of went into some details on things. But I want to make sure that there's not any questions, thoughts, or concerns of anything that I talked about or anything I can answer. And even if you don't have anything now, definitely feel free to put them in the comments section if you do. I'm check and read everything and want to make sure that I answer anything and help out in any way I can. So I want to thank you all for sharing your time with me today. I'll make sure to get this up shortly with the chapters for it. And everybody have a great day, and thanks again.